We thought we'd do an informal survey of who is the most mentally impaired of the Democrats and who is the least mentally impaired of the Democrats. You won't believe who our winner of the least mentally impaired is. Let's watch first on AOC. Her brain, you hear a spring go boing, and then a bunch of smoke comes out, and it sounds like gears stripping, like she dropped the transmission as she comments on trying to make Jesus out to be Palestinian. But first, welcome to Doug in Exile. Thanks for hanging out with where all the cool kids are. Well, we're not really cool. We're just hardcore patriots.
She wrote in part, quote, "In the story of Christmas, Christ was born in modern-day Palestine under the threat of a government engaged in a massacre of innocents. Thousands of years later, right-wing forces are violently occupying..."
Okay, I have to stop because my head is going to cave in. She says Jesus was in Palestine. You can read through the entire Bible over and over and over again. He's born in Bethlehem. He's Jewish. There is not a Palestinian is a name that came about much later. Mike Huckabee is going to straighten her out on it in a minute.
So much so that the Christian community in Bethlehem has canceled this year's Christmas Eve celebration out of both fear for their safety and respect.
This is the other thing that Democrats do is they mix the truth with a lie. In Bethlehem, much of the Christmas celebration was shut down. It was called very quiet, very silent, out of terror of them being attacked by Muslims. You know, this area used to be 80% Christian, 20% Muslim, and now it's 80% Muslim, 20% Christians. During this hostility, no, the Christians did not go outside and party. And no, AOC, it was not out of respect for Islam. It was for utter terror. They were afraid for their lives.
First of all, is she not aware that Jesus was Jewish?
She doesn't know. She was just repeating these left-wing brain damaged. I would say I'd put her up in the 99% most deranged, because there's no excuse for you to believe this stuff unless she was somehow mentally gone, probably through Trump derangement syndrome. AOC is hitting about 9,900% most deranged.
Is she not aware that the whole term Palestinian meant Jewish people until 1962, when Yasser Arafat co-opted the term and created a nation? Because the Christians were pretty much burned out and shut down by the radical Muslims who took it over back during the Intifada. So this is a person who is utterly ignorant about what she's talking about, and she may ought to stick to something she knows, like bartending.
Well, if she was bartending and she was having a little nip of her own in the back on the side, that might explain things. But she's not. She's sober. Therefore, boing. Next up, Chuck Schumer on funding. He's trying so hard to get funding for Ukraine that they're almost willing to spend a few dollars on the southern border, but we don't think so. They so hate that idea of not having a free flow, non-existent border that Mayorkas says is okay, as we get 11,000 crossings a day, that he doesn't want to give up money to stop it. And the Republicans are holding him to it. And so they're not getting their budget.
Negotiations will continue around the clock, reaching an agreement on a critical national security supplemental.
The longer the Republicans hold on this, the better we are. But here's the shocker. Least impaired Democrat goes to John Fetterman. Listen to how fast he's even talking. The more he recovers, the farther to the right he goes.
If you look at the numbers, it's almost 270,000 encounters, and that's a lot. It's not xenophobic to have a conversation about border security.
It's not xenophobic to have a conversation about border security. This is our least impaired Democrat. He's the least woke. What happened? Fetterman's been cured. It could be a miracle. Well, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Who would you vote is the most mentally impaired Democrat and the least? I'm Doug in Exile.